not easy to bring these thoughts to the world. These are usually the kind of things that people keep to themselves, especially that they're going to be controversial. Okay? Backstory. My brother is 11 and a half years older than me. I grew up in an environment hearing the inner thoughts, sort of men. Okay? Like them talking about feeling things that it couldn't be a manipulation because it wasn't for any audience. It was talking with other male friends that didn't have any effect on this, is reflective of inner thoughts. Okay. um so growing up, I have always seen like unfairness to men in the legal system, as far as typically growing up, women weren't the ones arrested for a lot of things. It was common knowledge that you could kind of like, be a girl and get away with like tickets and little things like that. And I've always seen the prison system for personal reasons from family that the recidivism rate, like the restrictions and stuff, they putting people on probation and parole are set up in a way to intentionally try to get them back into the system. Like they have to live more perfect than a regular citizen to not get put back in. And like that, and I really mean that, like not get any kind of tickets, no violations of stuff. And so those kind of things didn't seem fair to me. All right. I seen and heard my brother's friends who, when they first had kids and relationships split up, and how talks about how they felt about their kids and wanting to see their kids and all of these kind of things. And then I started getting older in life and started experiencing more of the negativity of men, on just the random personal levels. And now it's weird to know the inner thoughts of them from a generation before than what you're living in, because it's not exactly the same. And so you're not, I thought I'm navigating the world with more information than other people, but I'm kind of navigating it with outdated information in a way. So I'm messing up and doing a lot of my own things, but not seeing it that way. And through the process have gotten very today, I can tell that I'm reflexively just more nervous around men. And so the contradicting, conflicting thoughts that are going on for me right now center around Charlie Kirk as a human being that advocates for all human beings. I don't care if you're a criminal. If you lose your life, I'm advocating for that's a loss of life. That, like, care about and be compassionate. So I don't care what your political views are. I advocate for, you're a human being. Like, that's not right. So that's not conflicting for me, right? But what's conflicting for me is that with being somebody who I'm I'm aware I'm an abrasive human being and very loud about my opinions and things like this. So Charlie Kirk should really hit a more, sorry, I'm not really reading the things in a moment. Give me a minute and I will. I don't want to lose my train of thought. Um, Charlie Kirk should hit me even harder on a personal level, because I advocate for the Second Amendment. I have always advocated for, wait, First Amendment? Which was the first? No, gone to the second one. First one's that. I'm sorry, my brain switches and does. I have a learning disability, so please bear with me and my craziness. I try to warn people about that, but anyway, um, I advocate for freedom of speech and everything. So this should be something that I should be outraged by. And here's the conflicting things for me, because I know that I'm coming from feelings on my own of hurt and also some anger. I see some of the people that are outraged by this that are speaking the same messages that I would normally be speaking. I see myself in them, but I also remember how they feel on the other side of how I align with. I know criminals that will literally give you the shirt off their back. They're criminals because they're drug addicts and they have a lot of self-hatred. And most of the things they do are trying to be self-destructive, not trying to hurt the world. And I also know how they are viewed. So I'm coming from a weird, conflicting place because any human life is fucking a tragedy, and I am aware of that. But a part of me is also like, why can't you understand the other side of this? Why aren't you passionate the other way? Why do I see that everybody's advocating for love, but I see some people's love stop at terms? And so I'm in this weird place where I'm trying to just feel neutral about things that I have all of these conflicting thoughts about, and I'm raging in all other aspects of my life and thoughts because I'm trying to suppress the conflicting ones. And I realize this is the world that we live in. We try so hard to hide from this humanness, this realness. This is what it is to be human, to have logical thoughts and to have contradicting feelings to them from your experiences. Because at the end of the day, I used to watch his videos of debates. I love debates. I love watching. I'm not a big watching of the political debates just because I don't really like the polarization in America, so I don't want to be too knowledgeable on that information, because when I'm knowledgeable on information and my feelings get hurt, I am aggressive and cut back. So I try as hard as I can to be self-aware of what's going on in the bigger environment to what I allow myself to adapt into. Now, in watching those debates, I will say that I didn't agree with everything. I do have different alignments on things, but I would say probably about 80% of what the dude said, I can get on board with. I am a middle ground. I see good points from the right and the left, always have, always will. Now I'm going to go ahead and read what the hell is happening here, because I couldn't track both it was too intense for me. Hi from Berlin. Drugs are the envious. I can't read that. I'm sorry. I'll have to do a translate thing if I can. Listen, if you are addicted to substances, I know that society has told you that the first battle that you need to win is the substance. And that is important. Absolutely. I'm not advocating doing anything but I'm saying that please know that a huge part of why people continue that is avoidance of emotion. And that once you start to face those emotions, it makes that recovery a whole lot easier, because you're trying to fill a void that you could process through. And there are always loved ones around you that want to help you. There are people that have definitely turned shoulders on their loved ones but they will always reach back if their loved ones are reaching towards them and asking for help, real help, not the manipulative, I need money, oh, woe is me help, because people are sick of that. I'm going to be honest. I've been on the other side of that. It sucks to know your love is being manipulated and used. And there is the understanding that it is from the drug addiction, but there's also the understanding that there is times that you're sober and you straight choose that and you don't choose love. So there is that. We know it's a war, but we also know that we're being manipulated by your war. um so yeah, it, that it when we fix society, a lot of the problems that society are trying to fix are going to start fixing themselves. I know that people don't agree with me on that, and I can understand that, but you'll see soon. It's a pendulum swinging, and when a pendulum hits the furthest of negativity and starts to swing back in positivity, you're not living in positivity yet. You're swinging towards it. So the world that you're seeing around you is still that negativity. So it's hard to believe in what's happening while it's happening until it hits that half point threshold where you really see. And you can look at it not on a pendulum, you can look at it as a peak, like climbing up a mountain. You don't see beyond what's on the other side till you hit that peak. um can you say a prayer for Tyler Robinson? Yeah, absolutely. I don't keep up on media and everything, so sorry to be a horrible human being here, but I am not informed on who that is. I don't like living in a world of negativity. I want to push towards a world of positivity, so I do try to not see that stuff unless it gets forced into my view, to be genuinely honest. So, um, if somebody wants to update me, or actually, I'm gonna go look it up because I'm obsessed with information. So now that it's in my viewpoint, I will go look. But human beings are not simple creatures that just have linear thinking and all feel one way. There are people right now that are emotionally screaming out and saying horrible things that they're not fully in alignment with. They're speaking from hurt. Please understand that yes, there are people that are extreme, that have crazy views, but they got there from not being heard, not being listened to, and being able to sit in an isolated world and form these crazy things and have push views from one side or another, things that will align in whatever their imaginary world is. They're going to interact with this world to confirm it as much as possible. That's how we work as human beings. So I know you are never going to agree with me on this, but if you really want to stop the tragedies from happening, you have to start listening to people. And it starts with the people you really don't want to listen to, because they're the ones that are at their breaking point and are going to do crazy, irrational things. The people that talk rationally and think rationally have rational thoughts, and they're not going to go do the irrational things. That's why you can see the people posting crazy things before they do this. Their family was saying they were doing all this crazy stuff. It's because people want to be heard. People are acting from fear. And when people are acting from fear and people are pushing against you, you'll do more and more extremes to validate yourself. It's the way the human brain works. How do we process through all of this? I process better with talking. Once I say things, my brain is able to actually start processing more. And I'm starting to realize that this is what you have to do with those conflicting thoughts, because I shouldn't be mad at others for past experiences that I've had. I know that logically, but I have to hear myself say the stuff instead of just letting it process through my head to really hear what I'm saying. And what I'm saying is, I'm so hurt from my own personal experiences that I'm blinding myself from my own beliefs. That I'm having a contradiction, walking my own walk, my own beliefs because of past hurts and feelings. And it's weird because I rationally know that negativity in this world has to be experienced to appreciate positivity. If I never experienced hurt, if I had never experienced heartbreak, I really wouldn't appreciate love the way that you do. It's like puppy love. It it's a different thing when you don't know what it's like to love the wrong person. When I like you feel like you can love anybody, that your love is aligned with what you want or whatever, and most of the time that doesn't work out or work the way that you expected it, and it hurts. But then eventually you find the person that's more aligned with you and your soul, and it's not just a better love, but it's a whole better life because everything's more aligned. At the beginning of the year, I had made a video about seeing it, it was talking about a faith thing with big rocks being your faith, and then the little pebbles were are like work and friends and things like that, and family, and like the core things, and then the little sand was like all of the fun and interest and all that extras, and like your day-to-day monotony. And if you pour them in wrong, so if you pour in the day-to-day monotony first, and then you pour in your friends and family, and then you try to put in faith, it doesn't fit all the way in. Or if you put your friends and family down at the bottom, and then faith, and then the sands, it still doesn't fit in, and that you have to put the big ones down at the bottom, and then you put the little pebbles in, and then the sand, and it'll all settle down, and it'll give you a level thing. And then that you could put a level cup on it, and that the Jesus and how he's with water, and it can clean out your cup, and making sure that your cup is turned up right, and how it was okay that if your sand and everything, that you had gotten it wrong at first, that 2025 was going to be a sudden shaking of everything, and settling everything. So what I'm saying is, if you put it in wrong and you shake it vigorously, everything will settle into the right place, and it will still give you that same, it's the way physics work. And that was going to happen, but I didn't expect such intensity through it, to be honest. I I really thought that people, once they started seeing people give to charity, and offer free services, and helping, I really thought that people would just slowly transition over, like a smile spreading. And what I'm finding is that no, it's like a cult finding out that their ideology wasn't true. Anybody that had lost themselves believing that this world was so cold and it was never possible for it to be good are genuinely fighting for that to be what it is, because they've dedicated years, they've lost so much believing what they believe, that their minds can't just accept that they'll be happy through this. they have to waste it to justify all of that energy. And it's normal. It's part of the way the human brain works. Look, our brains are contradicting, crazy. It's not normal. It's not simple. It's not easy. Human beings are complex. They think differently. And we have to find a way to process through these things. I don't have all the answers. All I can do is be a weirdo in front of y'all and share my thoughts and hope that I spark ideas for other people to do more than I'm capable of. I don't know how to take this completely. It's hard to just shift away from your hurt, shift away from years and years of trying to be optimistic, to just believe that if you turn the other cheek, that eventually they'll stop slapping. And then when it finally starts to come, and you finally start to realize that they're going to stop slapping you, any movement of their hands and you're flinching, ready for the smack, even if you know it's not going to come. There's something in your brain that's waiting for it, ready for it. And I think that's where other people's intensity is coming from on this. I think that a lot of people that didn't think things were going to affect their world had something affect their world in a different way than they've ever had. And they're feeling something that everybody's used to feeling, and we're not being understanding of it because of our feelings. And it's a loop. If I hurt your feelings, and while I'm learning the lesson of, oh fuck, I did that, and then you feel the need to hurt my feelings, and then I process and go, well, mine was an accident, and they did it intentionally, so, and then I do it again, and then they go, well, here's the second time they've done fucked me over. The first time it was an accident, I guess that's what they're saying, but here's the second time, so that doesn't align, because if it was an accident, why are you doing it again? And then you start this vicious cycle over and over again, and it's like the duality of the world is just on a circular pattern of one faces something, acts like an asshole about it, and then the other experiences something that's not quite exactly the same, but enough the same. And then it just keeps going over and over. I hear people posting videos. You see the difference? You see the difference? There's no rioting. But next time I'm using my gun. Okay, so you had the upper hand this time, but you're going to be right back in the loop the other time. So the ones that weren't in the cycle are just slowly being, hey, come join this roller coaster of fucking secular stupidity. And I went off the ride, but I feel like every move I make just is a fucking continuance back onto it. I feel like every exit is just a loop back fucking onto the fucking round. I hate that I can understand people, but never. It's a weird thing. I understand people and I can connect with them on a personal level, but I can never connect with a mass people. And it's weird because it's the same mindsets and stuff, but it's how do you mirror neurons and talk to people on their language when you're talking to a world and they're all speaking different languages? How do you get somebody to understand the point now and when the cycle flips and hits the other side? Are there people exiting right now? I feel like I see it. But then I also I see just in personal sharing thoughts, and how as soon as you say certain words that people are like, yeah, this passion, and it's like, but no, that passion you thought it's like an echo chamber type of passion. It's the I don't know, it's not the truly understanding. I mean, that's the key to fixing this world is understanding. But how do you get people to understand that understanding is to fix the world? It's like having one of those the forget me things in Harry Potter, where it's like it fogs up to remind you that you forgot something, but it doesn't tell you what you forgot. So cool. I now remember that I forgot something, but I don't remember what it was. It's kind of one of those fucking battles. I'm getting eaten by mosquitoes. And now that I've said things out loud, I have processing to go do. I'll come back with you when I actually have really processed these thoughts and where I'm at with it, because I take a long time and a lot of back and forth to really land and find out and articulate and figure out exactly where I lie. Um, and if I do that all on camera, I am just going to confuse y'all even more. So I will come back and share where I am with trying to process the emotions of this world and the logics of how I feel about it and whatnot. Because I'm definitely in a state of just my emotions hit me and then I push them away unconsciously. I shift as fast as I can. I don't like the uncomfortability. And then when I realize that I've done it, it takes me a while to be like, no, I got to go back and sit in that uncomfortability because I'm trying to escape it. But these are the kind of things that I think are helpful for the world. I think that it's awkward and weird to share these kind of thoughts with the world, but I think that if we actually shared these kind of things, maybe we wouldn't be so emotionally charged by each other. If we had more understanding, I know that it's easier for me to process and handle some of the hurt that I've been through when I understand why the other person did it. Even if it was more just they were thinking of themselves, I can still process that easier than I can process something that I don't have information to process with. So I hope this helped at least one human being